Hello, everyone. This is Rick, and welcome to Astral Club. This is Astral Defense Strategies. Before we get into it, just want to mention Patreon. If you'd like to support this channel, you can certainly do so on Patreon. When you do support us, you get advanced podcast, a chat function where you can chat with all the other supporters, and a direct mail function where, if you want to ask a question that you don't want to share with everyone else. So if that's something that you might be interested in, then just go to the description where you'll find a link to Patreon. Next up, private astral projection lessons. I've been doing lots of lessons for folks now all over the world through Zoom. And we've been accomplishing a lot, having a little bit of fun. If that's something that sounds of interest to you, then just go to the description and send me an email asking for more information. Okay, let's get started with astral defense strategies. Now, before I get into this, I just want to let everyone know this was something I kind of started with my patrons in mind as kind of an experimental group, but I think I can allow it to grow at this point. There's been a number of people who've wanted help on the astral plane. Unfortunately, I'm only one guy, and I'm often on my own trips and visits to accomplish a variety of lessons and to learn what I need to learn that I then share with you. But I can't be everywhere at once. So what I did is I talked to my angel guide, and he assisted me in essentially breaking off pieces of my oversoul, that greater part, which is me, and sprinkling it throughout the astral, you might say. Now, I didn't say anything to anyone about this because I wanted to see if anyone noticed this. So at this point in time, I've had 4 people who have contacted me and told me that they'd asked for help while they were on the astral, and then my voice and sometimes my appearance was there to offer them assistance. So I feel now that I can announce this to everyone. So if you find yourself in the astral and you need some assistance, try to summon me, and you may end up with a fragmentary part of my soul that can give you some assistance. My guide told me this was going to cost me a little bit and cost me some power, but the main thing here is to be able to assist folks on Astral Club in having and getting the best out of their astral projections. So I just wanted to let that out there at this point so that you could take advantage of it on your next astral projection. And let me know. Send me an email or put a comment in the comment section. Let me know what happened and how my soul fragment was able to help you. So that'd be great. Okay, let's get into the astral defense strategies then. There's a number of ways you can defend yourself if you find yourself in an uncomfortable situation, confronted by an entity, a creature, what have you, that you do not feel has your best intentions at heart. So what are some of the ways you can deal with this? Now, these are all defense strategies. The first is ident travel. I've used this myself at times. One of my favorite spots to go, and I've shared this before, is to the rings of Saturn. I usually just pick a big ice rock that's circling Saturn, and then I chill on it, just listening to the beautiful music of Saturn when you tune in just right. Kind of sounds like whale sounds, sort of. And then you get this radiation just coming off Saturn that feels great. It's kind of like waves of energy that's warm. It's really a great thing, and it's so beautiful. I can't even describe using the clumsy English language to describe to you just how beautiful that is. But what's good about it is I have that ident, and so if I find myself in a situation where I don't feel that it's in my best interest to hang around, I might go to this particular ident, and I've never been followed. That's one good thing about an ident is it really takes an extremely sophisticated and experienced entity to follow an ident type travel because there's no easy trail for an attacking entity to follow. So that's what's good about going to ident travel, because with an ident, 1 minute you're facing some unpleasant entity, and keep in mind it can't really harm you. It's just they're unpleasant, so you don't like being around unpleasantness. But 1 minute you're there, and then the next minute using the ident you're somewhere else. And for me, it's chilling on an ice rock circling Saturn. Next up, fear. If you feel fear, you'll get pulled back to your physical body. I've mentioned before in the past that there is an astral cord, which is less of a cord, more of like a loose bundle of fiber optic filaments. At least that's what it looked like to me. So it's constantly monitoring what's going on between your physical body and between your astral body. So if something scares your physical body, you'll get yanked back. If something frightens your astral self, well, you'll get pulled back as well. So that's pretty much like an automated way to escape something that you find irritating or unpleasant. Traveling in time. Well, once you have mastered time travel, that's a brilliant way to shake loose something that you don't want to hang around. Because I've noticed that a lot of entities don't know how to time travel. Now, the highly sophisticated ones do, but a lot of them don't. So by willing yourself into a year in the future, or the past for that matter, you will find that, you will have lost that unpleasant guest that you had, encountered, and you'd find yourself in whatever future or past you decided to select. Okay, there's also, of course, facing the threat with a shield. Putting up a shield requires a little bit of practice in the astral, so my advice is to practice it when you're on the astral before you actually have to use it. It requires energy, and it requires single-minded focus to throw up that light shield. You have to imagine yourself covered in a white light shield, and you have to maintain a level of concentration to keep it up and strong. So this is not something you want to experiment with when you're confronted with something. This is something you want to get used to doing when it's not needed, where you can practice somewhere safe. So putting up a shield is a valid defense, certainly. Flying away at top speed. If you want to get away, then just head in a direction away from whatever it is you're confronting, and travel at top speed. So you need to be vibrating pretty highly. Now, you can be followed if whatever is bothering you decides to make a pest of itself. So there's a number of things that you can put together with your flight at top speed. And this is especially if you feel some sort of psychic intrusion, like the entity's trying to hack into your mind. There's a number of ways that you can block that. And this is also a defense strategy, of course. The first is spell out your religious figure's name over and over again. Let's say you're a believing Christian, for instance. By spelling out Jesus over and over and over again, you can effectively block all but the very most powerful entities. It can work quite well. If you have a religious faith of any other sort, if you can call upon an entity or a religious figure like Jesus, for instance, that should probably work as well. However, let's say you don't have any kind of religion. Well, the next one is you can fill your mind with white light and love. It sounds pretty simple, but it's highly effective because your typical lower vibrating entities find white light and pure love to be extremely distasteful. And they will flee from that every bit as much as they would flee from, the toughest attacking force that would go up against them. So, filling yourself full of white light and love can definitely get rid of anything that's annoying you. Lastly, there's multiplication tables. I remember once I felt there was some sort of a psychic intrusion going on, and I decided to experiment with something new rather than the typical religious figure or light and love. And I started doing multiplication tables, okay, starting at 1 times 1 and working my way up to 9 times 9. And by the time I got there, the entity was long gone, because it seems that not even attacking dark entities want to do math, and that type of blockage, I guess they must find pretty darn annoying, as indeed most students do when they're confronted with math in school. Okay, this one is a short one, but there's some cool little techniques that you can use if you find yourself confronted by any kind of being that you feel isn't the kind of buddy you want to hang around with. So if you like this, please hit the like button, share it with those of like minds, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments, questions. Have you ever used defense strategies like this on the Astral? Have you come up with any new ones yourself? If so, make sure you put them down there in the comments section, and also include any questions that you might have about something you may have confronted or you might confront in the future. And I will be glad to address it. And once again, this is Rick, and I will see you on the astral plane.